So first lifting session, hopefully, since the baby's been born. Kids are playing with friends, baby's napping right now, mama's feeling pretty good. So we're gonna try to get some tempo squats in. I don't like my odds of finishing an entire workout, but we're gonna see what we can get in. So as I was getting ready for today's training session, I realized a lot of stuff hurt. I've been pretty inactive for the past almost week for obvious reasons. There's no such thing as a pain-free training session, especially at this point. I'm 36 years old. There's really no such thing as a time where I step into the weight room or step on the field of throw where everything feels great. But I figured it might be worth talking about a little bit for people that have similar interests to me, that maybe lift in the same way, play in the same sports. Then maybe they could see, what hurts and why. Everybody at some point, if you're squatting long enough, is going to have some knee soreness and some knee pain, if not injury. A lot of times the squats themselves aren't the culprit for the injury. It's just the amount of mileage that you're putting on your knees, especially if you're an active person playing sports. Some of those are just genetic factors too. Sorry, some people are going to have more lax joints than others. Some people are going to be more susceptible to that with their connective tissues. For me, I've been pretty lucky, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to make this a caveat for my entire body, that I've been pretty lucky. I have an okay amount of mileage, not a ton, not a lot compared to my peers, and I've maintained a pretty injury-free career, as I like to call it. My right knee, it has been a thorn in my side at times. Right now it's behaving pretty well, but I have a torn meniscus. I have a little bit of flap of meniscus that falls into the joint once in a while and will make it lock up. It actually happened the first week of the CrossFit Open this last year during the overhead walking lunges. It just locked up on me and I was done. I got stuck in the bottom position at one point and couldn't get out. It hasn't happened in quite a while. There's things that I do to mitigate it. The biggest things for me were, one, learning how to squat. Learning how to get better at squatting instead of always chasing bigger numbers. That was a big deal. Making sure that joint is tracking correctly, squatting the correct way for my body type. I'm long and lean, I got a long bar path, and I've got to get my legs under me the right way. I've gotten a lot more out of squatting in an Olympic squatting style, a high bar, narrow stance style. Olympic lifting shoes. I used to lift in flats, in chucks, basically. And I made great progress early on in that when I was pretending to be a power lifter, but as I got more into throwing sports, Scottish Highland Games, and wanted to be healthier on my knees, I found that these were a lifesaver. This getting my foot in position and kind of cueing me to stay in my heels and towards my midfoot and not have so much variation was really a lifesaver. It allowed me to sit back into the squat a little bit more. So that was job one. So my everyday go-to knee sleeve, just a regular slingshot knee sleeve. These are very close to a reband, except they're thicker. They have a little bit more cushion and padding, and there's a lot more stitching going on. So they just keep the joint kind of collected and warm, and those are kind of the everyday thing. When I'm squatting, I go with the strong sleeve. It's got a little bit more support. It's a tighter fit throughout more of the knee joint, top and bottom, and I feel like it gives me a little bit more of a solid feel in the bottom of the squat and coming out. They increase my confidence when squatting, and they make it feel like my joint is tracking as it should. Now moving up the body, my hips. This was not really an issue until I got into my mid-30s and I was lifting a lot and throwing a lot at the same time. Throwing is very, very hip intensive, especially on my right hip since I'm a right-handed thrower. I tend to push that right hip through. That's the goal. I tend to be rotating my right knee and hip towards where I'm going to throw, and I'm cranking it with a lot of weight on it. So of course I'm going to have some problems. That's one of those realities I think you have to get used to if you get into sports in general, but especially in throwing sports. So I've had times where, I can't even really fully extend that right hip, and you can really feel it when you're throwing. If you're not properly doing your mobility, you're not doing the right stuff. You're not doing, like, for instance, the Shakira hip mobility program from Matt. I run that once in a while when things are getting tight and getting a little difficult to deal with in season, and sometimes I'll just do portions of it when I'm not. When I feel great, I'll do it, and that's really a big key, especially for hips. Do your mobility when you feel great. Don't just wait till it hurts to do that. So moving to the shoulders, I've had, this is where I've had probably the most issues in recent years. I compete in two pretty shoulder-intensive sports. CrossFit is, as I like to call it when I'm coaching, it is the great destroyer of shoulders if you are not smart. If you don't do proper mobility work and you don't focus on technique, especially on the pull-up bar, it's gonna burn you. Voodoo floss. I voodoo floss the shoulder whenever I feel any twinge of pain or stiffness in it. I make sure to compress it down pretty good, at least 75% of the tightness of the voodoo floss, and move it through a full range of motion. Try to get everything cranked on, lay down, get it cranked all the way back here, get it cranked all the way to the ground, try to get it over my head, all that stuff. And then when you release it, it feels magical. People that live for a long time, especially that do any amount of pressing for a long time, or even pulling, are going to have elbow pain. You're going to have it. You're also going to have wrist pain. Those are small structures, comparatively speaking. We like to rely on the big muscles when we lift and we move. We like to rely on pecs, quads, hamstrings, glutes, erectors, lats. We like to use those things. That's what we try to emphasize in lifting technique. But something has to hold the weight, and these smaller structures in here are what's going to give out on you. The elbow pain in particular, I've got what you call lateral epicondylitis, more pronounceably known as tennis elbow. The best cure for that I found, again, voodoo floss before and after. Tends to get some fluid movement, and slingshot cuff. I tend to put the cuff right on the area that hurts, right about there at the elbow joint. And that compression of my wrist flexors just gives it the little bit of help to take some of the strain off the connective tissue of the elbow. It's really nice. Just train with this on, warm up with it on, and then just keep it on forever. That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing at some point. If you bench, you're gonna have wrist pain. If you're a thrower, especially you're throwing stones and shot put, you are going to have wrist pain. You must accept this reality in your life. You are going to have wrist pain. You need to invest in a pair of wrist wraps. Again, slingshot. They make the best in the business. They're durable, they're flexible, they come in different lengths, whatever you like, whatever you're into. They even come in cool colors. So again, I know it sounds like a commercial for Slingshot. I just haven't used any other wrist wraps that work as well. That's it, plain and simple. I can use them for everything. With me, I've been, again, pretty lucky with my lower back. I've never blown it up. However, I have blown up my SI joint once. The SI joint is a fun little area between your pelvis and your sacrum where they connect. And during a max effort deadlift in a competition, I gave that a nice little tweak. I suppose you'd call it a sprain. And it's kind of bothered me ever since. It's never really subsided. So if I don't warm up properly, I don't brace properly, it's gonna make me pay. Biggest thing, lifting belt. Not for the reasons a lot of people think. The lifting belt is not so much about protecting the lower back or creating extra back stability. It's about teaching you to brace. It's about bracing and organizing your spine and your abdomen. So having that belt to push out against gives you a reminder that you shouldn't be in compromised positions, up or down, a lot of lumbar flexion or extension like this. I have a couple different ones. I have a leather powerlifting belt that I like to use, especially on squatting, just the way it fits, feels good. That's plain and simple. I like the amount of support and that it doesn't move around on me. I also have an old beat up Velcro belt. This is great for Olympic lifting because it doesn't get in the way so much, and it's very, very adjustable because of the Velcro. Like you can adjust down to just the, exactly to where you need it to be instead of counting on prongs and holes in the belt. So get a belt. If you're not lifting with a belt, you're not impressing anybody. You can lift a lot longer. You can lift more weight for longer across a lifetime by using a belt. So again, get smart. Get a belt. The take-home point is that everybody has aches and pains. You cannot use them as an excuse or a crutch, but you also need to be smart. One, knowing the difference between pain and injury, knowing when something doesn't work anymore versus whether it just hurts. The second is use the proper gear. We live in the golden age of gear for lifting right now. It's everywhere. There are companies that specialize in this. So be smart. Invest in those things. Don't be cheap. This is the one body you get for the entire time that you're hurtling on this rock through space. That's all you get. So take care of it. Get the good stuff. Be smart. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Again, I appreciate all the support. Like, subscribe. I never know where the buttons are, so just you find them and hit them, and then I'll believe that you did it.